Lights, camera, action. Good morning, everybody. How are we doing? It's Monday. Did we all have a good weekend? All right. I know we're Monday. We've been drinking coffee. We're feeling good. Let's keep it going. So we were asked this morning with, hey, how can we implement Redux into an already working application that we've currently got in React? Again, this is something that was somewhat requested by Max last week. But again, these types of implementations of Redux would probably be pretty unnecessary for like your actual application. I mean, your application has a lot more to do than what we did on the test, right? These ones have these 3 specific like locations, people, and movies that were all pretty easily self-contained. That being said, let's kind of see how we could, if we've already been writing things in React, how we could mix them back into Redux. Okay. Also, there's a couple things I'm going to try to hit today with thunks. This is what we're going to be using primarily for like asynchronous action creators. So action creators are those functions we've been writing that create actions, right? Actions are the object that gets sent to the reducer. And now some of those we might want to have asynchronous calls for things to happen, like go fetch data, take that data, and then fire that action. We're going to learn how to do that. We're also going to talk about own props. That's that secret little hidden second argument to our map state to props and map dispatch to props. And then we're also going to talk a little bit about normalized state. So let's get into it. Just real quick, how did we do on the warm-up? Okay, so about what I had a feeling. Okay. No offense. I just walked around a lot and I'm like, I don't know. Okay, this takes a while, right? This is hard to do. That's why I think it's best if we just focus on probably movies for now, and then maybe we can take what we work on today and you can work on it further instead of you do all of it in one huge chunk. So, okay, what's the first thing we've talked about needing when we're going to do Redux? Max? Sounds like a great place to start, yeah. So I'm going to open up a new tab. I'm going to go Npm Install Redux, React Redux. And because I'm going to talk about thunks later, I'm also going to add something called Redux thunk. And because I'm also going to pass in a piece of middleware called logger, I'm also going to pass in Redux, thank you so much, Redux logger. Okay, and we'll get into what all those things are doing. I'm going to npm install those. I feel so alert right now. I hope it lasts all day. Okay, are we almost done with that? Got to get that Jeopardy music back. Okay, so we've got those things. So inside of our index, right, we know that we need to create a store because that's like the thing with Redux, right? So I'm going to go ahead and go import, create the store. I'm going to keep it in this file still from Redux, bad habit. putting React there. Okay. And let's declare our store. Let's store, create store. What does this take in? It takes in a reducer, right? This is something that has to happen. So we don't currently have a reducer. So I'm just going to make up the name of one that I'm going to have as a root. And for now, I'm just going to leave it with that. And let's go make our reducer. So I've already made a little folder with nothing in it. And let's create a root reducer. And does anybody know what's going to go in my root reducer? What do we think a root reducer might do?
Combine reducer?
Yeah, we're going to definitely combine reducer. Excellent. And then, right, we're going to make this root reducer. So I'm going to say const root reducer, and it's going to fire this function, combine reducers. Takes in an object that's going to have key values of these different reducers. So I'm going to do movies, and I'm going to call this movies reducer, which we don't have. And I'm going to call people, and that's going to call the people reducer, which we also don't have. And I guess I'll put, I don't want to go too far, but I do want to have us to have the reducers. What the hell? We'll just do it. Okay. We'll do locations. We'll have our locations reducer. And let's export that. Okay. So if we're going to have those three reducers in there, we're going to have to import those three reducers. That's the paths I'm going to make. I'm going to make a movies reducer, a people's reducer, and a locations reducer. I'm not going to go too in depth on any of them except for movies. Yeah?
Can I see your index.js?
Sure. Good.
You know how when you were using React, first thing you would do is go to our app.js file and make the state and do all of that?
Mm-hmm.
With Redux, what are the steps? Where should we start? Should always start in index.js, and then what should we go after? Like, what's the flow?
Okay.
Because here you did reducer and you went and created a file. Should we be doing that?
Yeah. Well, at the flow for a full stack app, I would probably just do one reducer at a time. So I probably, inside of my root reducer, wouldn't have these yet. And I would just do movies, and I would get that to work. And then I would create the actions that I need to do for the movies, and I would be checking to see if those work. Then I would check, I would probably build a container around the component that I want and pass the correct things in a state.
And the really nice thing about doing one, I'm sorry, and the really nice thing about doing one time, right, is that you create actions, reducers, and then you feed it into the store, right? So you kind of set up the entire architecture of your Redux file system, right? And then you can just add stuff onto it by adding stuff to this.
The only reason I'm doing other ones right now is just so that they're there, so we can see them while they're there, as if we were already building things. Yeah?
This object that you're passing into combine reducers, does that go with actions or just reducers?
So this is only going to take reducers. We're going to be getting back this store. So our store, when we do combine reducers, our store looks something like this. Right? It says object. And then we say, okay, movies. So we're going to get this movies. And that's going to point to whatever comes back out of our movies reducer. So if that's an array, it's an array. If it's an object, it's an object.
So from movies reducer is a reducer. Does it output a new state?
What do you mean by a new state?
What does the movies reducer evaluate?
Movies reducer is going to be returning the updated store.
Okay, so it's outputting like the updated store. You mean like an array of new movies or
Yeah,
like okay.
exactly. Okay, so let's keep rock and roll in here. And I'm gonna just create a few new files. I'm gonna say movies reducer.js. I'm also gonna make the other files on here. People reducer.js. Application reducer.js. And let's just want to do almost like nothing for the people reducer. Just gonna like a const people reducer. Gonna take in some old state, and I'll talk about why I want to do this as an object in a little bit. And I'm just gonna do it like that. I'm gonna do this object that freeze. Could be my old freeze that old state that's coming in, and then we can write our switch statement. Oops. Action.type. So in the event that we receive people, I don't know if I'm spelling any of it right.
That's the name of your
This is a case. People reducer is the name of the function. It's a switch statement.
right.
So in this case, I'm just going to return action.people, which this would probably be an array actually if I did that, but I'm not going to worry about that for now. I don't really want to break.
People like the data that actually is holding the payload.
Yeah, it's going to be the
So you're
payload.
just calling people, not payload.
Yes. That's a personal design choice. Right? It makes it so I cannot mutate the state. Here or not.
So the old state, is it going to be a state from React or from the store? How is it interacting with React state?
React state.
Yeah, is it even at all going?
This is so this is the Redux state.
Yes.
Redux store. It's gonna update it. But we're
it's
not
interacting with React is that state at all.
well when it updates the store, React gets its information from the store and takes a slice of state in those containers with map state to props and map dispatch to props.
Okay, so React and Redux they both come and interact with the same states. Just in React, you access it with that state, and user just all states.
Kind of. We're gonna go through the flow completely. Forget this for now. Let's just return old state, okay? I don't want us to get too confused. Okay. And I'm also gonna do the same thing for our location reducer. Change the word. Now this isn't at all React, right? This is just a pure function, which is our reducers. React is the same as it's always been. We'll do those components. Everything is, there's nothing new as far as React goes. So if it looks like a brand new file that we've never seen before, we won't have to write import React because it's not part of React. It's a good question. I like it. Yep.
Did you name it location or locations reducer?
The root reducer. It looks like I pluralized it. Good idea. We'll see how messed up that gets. Okay. And sure, I can update the file now. Right, the file, this is just to help me. This wouldn't break it as long as I'm still importing everything. If I haven't imported, or maybe I did. Maybe you're right. Oh, I did. Good catch. Okay. Right, so we've got some boilerplate code. Let's actually get to the movies reducer, which is what we're all here for. And so let's do something where we go like movies reducer. I'm just going to do this old state theme again. Action. And we can see that I'm using an array because that's what we've been doing, right? That's what our current state is, which we can talk about in a second. Okay, so I'm just gonna whatever. Don't want these to get in the way. Export default movies reducer. Okay, so we've just done a bunch of like boilerplate code, right? We're just kind of like setting up the project a little bit. But we now have reducers, and we can pass our root reducer into our index and go from there. So now we got to import that. Import root reducer from where are we? It's like /reducers/ root reducer. Right, something along those lines. And we can check that things are working. So we can say, right, window.store equal store. Hopefully things will work for us. Import providers from Redux. It looks like I'm missing something up here. That's weird, right?
This is your root reducer.
Thank you. Okay, cool. And if we go to our store, let's take a look to see that we have our store. Yep, so we've got our store, we've got that dispatch, we've got get state. Let's see what it says. Store.state gives us back. So movies we did as an array, just don't worry about the type too much right now. We're going to get into that soon. But okay, cool. Looks good. Let's go, right?
What was the window that was?
Window.store equals store.
Yeah. How did you fix that error?
How did I figure out the error?
Yeah. Well, how did
It said there. Was missing a quote.
it's like the console log.
It puts a function on the window into the console so we can access it on the window. All right. Okay, so that works. Cool. So, let's think about this. Let's go to our app.js and see what we've got here. So before we were holding a lot of stuff in our app.js. We're holding this whole store. We're holding all of these functions. We're calling get locations. This is an async, right? So we could, I guess this is time, maybe we should start making some actions, yeah? So for the first thing, let's handle this like movie action.
Before you start, the whole process is to look at your current state and try to basically move all of those functions, actions, states to be held or controlled by store. Right?
Pretty
One
much.
by one, you just kind of like.
Yeah, so for now, right, I'm gonna just comment down all of that. I don't want it, right? I also, I mean, that's gonna break literally everything, but we can, how about we just think about it as commented out for now, and we comment it down in a minute, but I don't want my app to end up having anything in it except for the routes. That's my goal. And we're gonna get it, so don't worry. Okay, so let's say we doing this here, and where was I? Okay, yeah, we're gonna talk about actions. So I made a little actions folder. I'm gonna make a new file, and I'm gonna say I'll say movie actions.js. And if we look at, for this test, I already have this utility function that goes and gets things too, right? This goes and does the asynchronous call and returns a promise. And you can see that I actually call that here. I'm calling these here, and then I get this response. And based off of the way we've been doing things, after I get this responsive stuff, that's when I would call maybe my next action. So let's take a look at that and then adjust. So for movie actions, I'm going to do export const, and I'm going to do one of these receive movies. This way, even with my spelling, I'll be safe wherever I go. Okay? Okay. So once I've received all these movies, I'm going to want to send that action to our movies reducer, right? And then this is going to update our state somehow. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say export const. We've done like this, receive movies. And this is going to take movies as an argument. Well, I don't really need to do that. Okay, and I'm going to just return this object as type. Receive movies, and the payload is just going to be those movies. Yeah.
Can you say that all of your class components become reducers? And
No, the class components do not become reducers. Only the reducers are the reducers. These are the reducers.
right, but those are based on the graph.
Yeah, each class component is going to have a reducer.
Right.
associated to it.
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So they do to, and based on that, you also kind of attribute all of the functionalities of that reducer, and you take it down to. I'm trying to think of how you're structuring, why you're structuring. I guess it is for it. In actions, you have subfolders of referring to what each reducer acts.
Yeah, it's pretty much each actions. I'm gonna have action files for each reducer file, which I'm having for each type of main component thing. I know it's a lot. Okay, so in the past, right, like the way things are right now, we would call, okay, so we'd go out in our app.js and we would say, all right, let's get the movies, and then we're going to get back this response, right? It's res.data, and it's this array of movies, right? Hopefully we're familiar with that. And now, instead of calling set state, now would be a time that we could call this function that we just wrote, right? We just wrote this receive movies. So we could use that, right? We could like dispatch it. But I kind of said I didn't want to do that in the app folder, right? My goal at the end of this is to have an empty app folder, because I don't want app to be doing anything but the routes. I actually want app to be like a functional component. So it becomes, okay, well, how do we do this? Well, I guess we have to do some sort of asynchronous call to go fetch it somewhere, right? So where can we do that? Well, we can actually make another action that does this, and it's going to look something like this. First, we're going to import from our utility file. So, because I already have that action, I'm going to say import. Oh, I probably need this above. Import star. So all of the functions in there, I'm going to import, and I'm going to say as utility from /util/util.js. Now maybe this util file could have been, like, depending on the size of your app, right? Maybe this one could have been like movie utility function or something. All right, but now I have this, and I'm going to create a fetch movies function. So I'm going to say export const, and I'm going to say I want to fetch movies. This doesn't take in any arguments because we don't have anything yet that we want to go fetch. And I'm going to dispatch. Okay. And then I'm going to return what I get back from all this. So I'm going to say return util dot get movies. That's the that's one of the utility things I have. Is this get movies. So I'm going to say, all right, return util dot get movies. Then I'm going to have all these movies. And I'm going to return a dispatch of movies. And this spells dispatch twice. Thanks, Johnny with the twice. Classic. And I'm going to pass in this action that's expecting to receive all these movies. So I'm going to say receive movies, and I'm going to pass in movies.data. Yeah, we're not.
On line 11, I don't hear the noise going on with the function.
Yeah, it's a function that returns another function. It's currying over. We've seen this kind of behavior with closures. Yeah, so this is an anonymous function that returns the dispatch, which returns our get movies, and then inside of that returns the dispatches our received movies. It's like definitely a math fault, but it's a pattern you'll see sometimes. But with this, right, I'm dispatching. We have a dispatch here and dispatch here. Now this dispatch is dispatching an action creator, right? And this dispatch is like returning this whole thing, right? It's like, so how can we handle this without breaking our reducer, right? So if there's a function that's coming in, we have to dispatch that function instead of letting that function hit our reducer. So the way we're going to do this is with that thunk. Thunk is a middleware that checks to see if the dispatched thing is a function or an action. And if it's a function, it goes ahead and dispatches that function. And then when it will come back, the thunk will intercept it again, and then it will dispatch the action. I know it's a little weird.
So the get movie,
Yes.
it's our Axios call that's from the utility folder, right?
100%.
So in the future, if we were going to do our Axios calls, can we just do them here, or should we do them separately? Call the function inside of our actions folder, like you just said. Which one is better?
I like seeing them here. I think it's more organized. But you could do them elsewhere.
We are though getting to like a place rapidly that I mean we've already gotten there where like this stuff is starting to become like personal preference and like practice.
100%.
Right. So like best practices, like there are some things that are unambiguous as being best practices for these kinds of projects, but there are other things for which as long as you have a consistent organizational principle for your stuff, one way or the other is not explicitly better.
Yeah, 100%. As you may have already noticed, Reed and I keep organizing our files slightly differently. Yeah.
You reiterate the reasons for dump and why. So dispatch, so on line 13 is for dispatching an action, and the other one is what?
So thunk is a piece of middleware that's going to intercept anything that's dispatched, and it's going to check, hey, is this a function? And if it's a function, it doesn't let it go to the reducer. It fires that function and then waits. And if that function dispatches again, it takes whatever's dispatching and goes, oh, okay, now it's an action. And then it passes it to the reducer. Because our reducers aren't set up to take in functions. Our reducers are only set up to take in this action that has this type.
It's not entirely clear. I get what you're saying, but is there a reason why the reducer then doesn't only set the reducer still set what again?
Our reducer accepts an action. But we're sending a function. And so because of that, since we don't want to break our app with our reducer, because we're doing an asynchronous action, we're going to use thunks to help us with that. So what does that look like? Okay, well, it goes back into our index.js. And where's my note? We're just going to import something. I think it's going to be apply middleware from Redux. So thunk is a type of middleware. So I'm going to say apply. Am I spelling that right? Apply middleware. All right, this is another thing that comes with Redux. And as we've hinted at in the past, is our store takes in, it has to take in a reducer, and then it takes in two optional arguments. The first optional argument is a default state of the app. So for now, I'm just going to have that be an empty object. The next thing that our function can take in as an option is a middleware, right? So I could just write thunk here, although I haven't imported it yet. But I actually want to pass in two middlewares because I also want us to have an easier time debugging things. So I'm going to pass in thunk, which is a middleware, as well as logger, which is a middleware. And we're going to see what both of those do. So I'm going to call apply middleware, and that's going to take in two things. I'm going to say thunk and logger, and I have to import those as well. So I'm going to say import logger from Redux logger thunk from Redux thunk. Okay. I know we're like, what is this? What's it for? Well, we'll see. We will see. I promise.
Second argument there is the object. Is that big integration?
It's a default state of the yeah. Right. If I wanted to have things in here early, like if I wanted to have cats always just there, then I could do that.
Is that like the feature promise thing where it has like the default button?
Maybe I'm not sure. Thought that's like taking an options object or something.
Feature promise thing is more for like is more for passing values into like it's more for interpolating values into the SQL statement that we're doing, right? This is like setting a default state in our store.
I think he's talking about when he initializes PGP. Which are you talking? Yeah. Okay. So this is good. Like when I was doing Rails, I could check if I would keep a current user on the window. That was the way I did. I kept track of if there was somebody logged in at all times. And so I could check. I did a little if-else statement here in my Rails. Like, hey, is there a current user? And if there was, then I would set them already into the app so that they were already in my session. That doesn't make sense yet. Don't worry about it. For now, we're going to pass an empty object. We're going to use apply middleware so that I can stick two middlewares in here. Thunk, which is going to be the middle person there. It's going to take functions so that before they hit our reducer, fire them. And we have logger. This is going to show us the state of our application throughout, so we can see what was dispatched and what it was previous to the dispatch and how it looks after. So this is like this is for debugging logger. That's highlighted. You just can't tell. Yep. So that I can pass to. Yes, I can pass more than one middleware. Good question. Okay, and so we also have to do this provider, right? I mean, that's kind of where we are here. So let's import that. Can anybody tell me what the provider does? Andre? One more time? Yeah, right? This is going to be providing the store to our entire, so that we can connect to it anywhere within the application. So, okay, so we got our provider. Let's write it. Provider. Oops. X. Cool. And we're going to pass in that store. All right. Cool. So we've got some stuff going on. We should set up our movies reducer. So right now we have this action, right? And this action is sending us these movies, movies.data, this is an array of movies. So let's set up our reducer to handle that. So I'm going to go to my movies reducer. And instead of returning old state, let's put in our switch statement now, where we say, oops, action.type. And if you remember from our movies action, we exported this receive movies. So let's also go ahead and import that at the top. I'm going to say import these movies from, and I got to remember where it is. So it's like /action/movie actions. Hopefully that's the right path. Expression in the event that we want to receive movies. So this is receiving all of the movies, right? So if that's the case, I think I can just return action.movies. No need to add that, because this is like the new state. This is all the movies, so there's no point for me to go ahead and add that. Like, and do anything with the old state. But in the event that's not there, I will still return our old state. Okay. Yeah, Mateo.
So you have to put the receive movie bracket.
Mm-hmm. I do. Good catch. I don't know why that keeps doing that. Okay. What's it complaining about? Well, yeah, it's a linter thing. Okay, that looks better. Cool. So now we've received all these movies, and so let's go back to our app.js and figure out, really what we're gonna do. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of some of these things that we're not actively using. Index.js should be done. Okay, and we are eventually going to be using this movies component here, which before we just had this functional component. But as mentioned before, I want us to do all of our, I don't want to have anything in the Ajax. I don't want to have anything in the app. So currently we're still firing this get movies in the app. That's not going to happen anymore, right? So where can I fire that in our movies? Well, unless I'm using hooks, I don't really want to do that because I don't have like a component did mount on a functional component. So I'm just going to turn this to a class component. Let's export default movies and say extend React component. I should have a class here. Because I want to what? Component. Because I want to take advantage of the component mount. Yeah. For now, and I don't know about this. What's this doing? I'm not gonna even think about this for now. I'm just gonna comment this out. I need a render. Okay. And I would like to fire some action here, right? In component amount. That would be great if I could do something where I'm like, oh, okay, component amount, and I went like, okay, this dot props dot fetch movies, right? That would be great. I don't have those movies, right? How am I using fetch movies? I don't have that. Yes, no. How could I have it, right? I could import it, but I can't really import it directly into here because it's not how we're doing it. Because then it's not props. It's just, so we have these containers. So let's go ahead and make something like that. So inside of movies, I'm going to make a new file that I'm going to call movies container. Okay, yes. And inside of here is where we're going to be doing all of our mapping states, props and stuff. So first thing I need to do is import movies from movies. So I'm going to say import movies from / movies. This is what I'm going to connect. So since I'm going to use this container to connect, I'm going to say import connect from Redux. And here's where I'll import that action of fetch movies. So I'm going to say import fetch movies from something like that, / action / movie actions. And I know at the bottom of this, I'm going to export default connect. I'm going to pass something into there and pass movies into here. Questions on this part? Okay. So I don't want everything to just like break like it is, because I actually want us to like start to see things. So for now, I am going to comment down all of our component amount here. I'm going to comment down all of this. Maybe I'll move this into our function later. Move this and move all of this. Yeah, I am removing everything. Exactly. There is none of this. And for now, I don't want everything to like just insta break. So I'm just going to remove literally everything. Except for home. Okay, so that looks a lot better. And let's do our route. So I'm going to say a route when our path is when our path is /home. Okay, maybe I'll do something like this. Maybe I'll get rid of our switch statements. So it's like nuts. Home. I want to do this component, right? And what's the component that I want to do? Sorry, let's just say movies. I got confused. Right, we want to do the movies. Right, that's the goal, is to show the movies. But right now, our movies is going to be coming through our container. So I'm going to say movies container. And I'm also going to import that up here. So I'm going to do that, container. Cool. Map still totally broken. Movies is not exported. Import error. Movies container is not export from. Did we not export it?
On the end of your line, top, does it need to be up?
Not sure why we're getting this error. Let's see. Attempted import movies container is not. Maybe it's just. Maybe it's because of the stuff that's broken. Update movies to display. Okay, so some of this stuff is broken. Currently in our movies container.
Can you go to where you define fiction?
In our actions.
So where are you getting get movies?
My utility file from in here. This has these. Yeah, no problem. Good question.
What is your movies file?
The movies file right now is still broken because it's still referring to things like movie display, movies, update movie.
So that's not going to break it.
No, it's totally breaking it. Yeah. We're not done. Definitely not quite there yet. So for now, I'm just going to comment down all this stuff too, so I don't have to think about it. Since it's in a statement here, like that. Or hello. Let's see if that's. I don't have this yet, so I'm also going to comment that out. See if it's still broken. Movies container is not exported. Oh, on track.
Do you have to name it movies container?
No. Export default. Connect. I don't know. Maybe when we get map state to props and we have stuff in there, it will work. Const map state to props. Right, this takes in state. This returns some kind of object. Const map this to props. This takes in dispatch. And this also can return some kind of object. And then here I'm going to pass in on map state to props and map dispatch to props. Exported.
Where do you get you import?
From React Redux?
Where do you import to?
What do you mean?
After you export it.
What am I importing it?
It's used somewhere.
I'm importing it here. Probably. Brackets for on what? Right here. Oh yeah, I can't use brackets on this. Because I'm doing default. Nice catch with that. Nice. Okay. Now it'll definitely work. All right, so we've got hello here, right? We've got our home, got movies. Now the rest of these will be completely broken because we've got them all currently still commented out / deleted, right? Because we're just focusing on movies. The movies we've got working with hello. Okay. So let's do it. So inside of our container, we have to figure out which part of state we want. Okay? So I know we're going to want movies. So I'm going to return movies and state.movies. Now, right, this is an array of movies for now. Okay, so now we have our map dispatch to props. What function do I want? Yeah, right, we want to fetch those movies. And because that's the goal. So we're going to say fetch movies. And this is going to, whoops, dispatch or fetch movies. So now we have that inside of movies. So I can uncomment this part out. And I can say, okay, so on the component mount, let's go fetch those movies. Let's see what that looks like. I'm going to put a debugger here in our render. So we're going to go, okay. We've hit our render. Currently, we should see that this.props has match location history, and we've got this empty movies array because the asynchronous thing hasn't happened yet, right? I hit continue. I'm going to fire that function. And now when we do it, we can see we've got an array, 20 movies. Okay. Now we're talking. All right, now we're in business.
Is this the map to props?
This is coming in because of that, map state to props.
Can you explain more about that? So that's the data state.movies.
So yeah, so each class component here can take a slice of state or a piece of the store and pass it into its component that we're using, right? So our state here has movies, location, people, right? It has all those things, but we only want the slice that's at movies.
Should we call it store?
No, it's referred to as state. That's like totally standard. But yeah, mentally it seems like it should be store. I agree with you. But I'm not going to change that. These functions are what they're always called and stuff. This is the state of the application. All right, so now we've got all these movies. Now's a good time to, okay, so let's see. We've talked about some creators. We haven't talked about we haven't talked about normalized state. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about normalized state. And so the idea of normalized state is keeping your stores or application state kind of as flat as possible and easily accessible. So right now we have this movies, and it's this array of all these objects, right? And that's really long. But more than that, it's just, if we want to find an individual one of these, it's really going to be a pain in the neck, right? We're going to have to search through all of them. Now, that doesn't seem like the worst thing in the world with the data we've been dealing with, but imagine if we just had thousands and thousands of entries of data, right? That's a long loop that we're going to go, okay, is it there, 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 right? So instead of doing something like that, this is where we can use objects to our advantage. So instead of having an array, we'll go over to this example over here. So let's say we have people. So instead of having an array of people, instead we have an object where the keys are the IDs, and the IDs point to the object as their value. So we have people, right? We'd have an ID and a name, let's say, that's all there is. So I'm having the key 12 point to the object where the ID is 12 and the name is Corey. Then we have a key The next key is 44 because the ID is 44 and the name is Reed. Questions on that idea? Yeah.
What do you do with that? It's example the ID is a verbal characters.
No problem. Same thing. The ID doesn't have to make sense for us as a number. It's just the idea of normalizing the state so we can have faster look at numbers. Yeah.
Is that the hash state?
Yeah. An object is a hash. Right, so this could be advantageous, but we have to make our data look like that. And currently our data doesn't look like that. So we can see here, if I put a debugger here, and I refresh, we get this debugger. This is just an array. Let me continue. And don't want this one yet. Here we go. And now if I look at our state, right? This is our state. And it's this array, and that's going to be hard to access. So I'm going to normalize our state. Okay? So where are we going to normalize it? Well, we can do this in the reducer, or we could make a utility function or something to do this for us and then have that in the reducer. But since I'm just dealing with one thing today, I'm just going to do it with the reducer. So I'm going to go into our movies reducer. I'm going to create a function called const. I'm going to call it Normalize Data. This is going to take in an array of objects. Right? And I'm going to say let object equal e. And then I'm going to say array.forEach, and I'm going to pass in our callback function. So for each item, I want to put it in the object at item.id, and I'll have that point to the item.
It's not like we still doing it.
Doing it one time. But all components can benefit from it. I'm not going to have to keep looking things up. And I'm going to return our object. So now, instead of just returning action.movies, I'm actually going to return normalized data. Action.movies. So what's this do, right? This is iterating through an array of objects. It takes each object and it says, okay, at the key of ID, assign the value to be itself. So it gives us back with the table kind of like that. And when we want to actually see what it looks like, let me remove one of these debuggers, this one for now. Well, I shouldn't initialize it with a default of an FD, right? That's kind of silly at this point. Okay. Okay, so now we see our movies is supposed to be an object. It's currently empty. Goes out, boom, gets all the movies. And then when we go state.movies, this is now what we've got. This is an object filled with objects, keys and values of objects, right? You'll see these are identical. So now I can look things up instantly. David?
Did the initial state get replaced or gets put into that initial state? What was the error that you got?
I didn't get it in.
Yeah.
No, I just made an adjustment because I had done a default of an array by mistake. No, but I'd like to keep it consistent with its data type. But nothing broke. Okay, so now I've got this object. Cool. So let's keep going. Keep hacking away. Yeah, Mateo.
I just want to know like what your thoughts are when you give us these morning problems and we've already worked
This is the
for an
lesson.
hour,
Yeah.
saying like sometimes it may I feel a little down, I feel like I'm not getting material. You know, give us less than how much we're working on. What are your thoughts on that? Is it just like we're not supposed to be expected to get it done?
So right now we've been working on it the same amount of time that was given.
And we're still not done.
Essentially done.
With your company.
Right.
Say, I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. So the idea is like, hey, you didn't know about normalized state yet, right? We don't know about asynchronous action creators with Thunk. So these are things that you would have to try to overcome on your own. But it's the idea of that you're already thinking about all of these things, working on them for an hour, and then we're going through them and learning how to do it. So the idea is, so if I gave you the warm-up and let you complete it for 3 hours, then why would I go over it? It would be done. Right? If you solve an algorithm problem, you definitely don't need to watch me solve an algorithm problem, because that doesn't make any sense. So the thought process of that is the warm-ups are meant to get you going, to get you started, to get you thinking about the problems, and then we're able to go over them. Fair? I mean, did we want to keep doing the warm-up for 2 extra hours in the morning?
No, I just was wanting to know. I don't want to get discouraged if I'm not.
Definitely don't get discouraged. That's a great point to bring up. Yeah. Definitely don't get discouraged. This is hard. Yeah.
From someone who has gone through like so many warm-ups that I couldn't do. I think I've learned that I don't know anything else, but the more I practice and the more I think, the more it happens to me. This is so it's just like anything else. Like I've been so lost as many
Okay.
times. That helps.
I don't know. I hope so. Yeah. We're all going to get it eventually. Right? This is a lot of information. Right? This is the first time we've seen Redux used in this way.
It doesn't help, by the way, that at this point, like, Corey and I are doing stuff demonstrably differently, as you can see, because at this point, you are going to like get a dose of like different development styles, right? There are just so many different ways to implement stuff like this that our styles will come out, right? And that's kind of deliberate on our part, right? Because we want you guys to know that there are multiple ways to do this, and rather than just copy what we do verbatim, right? We'd like you to take a look at this stuff, try and implement it yourself, and figure out what makes sense to you, right? Because like one or the other or neither of our styles might make sense to you from a organizational perspective or from a functional perspective, right? But if you try it out for yourself, maybe you'll find a method that's equally as performant as ours, but makes sense to you. Right?
Okay, so going back in on movies here and our movies container, we're going to be passing in. So now we've got state.movies, and this is actually an object, right? This is all of the IDs pointing to the IDs. Now there's multiple ways that we could do this. Again, like for this next phase, right? So on the click, maybe we would want to show another route and stuff. I'm going to still use some state in this just to kind of simplify this a little bit. So in the past I had, back when we had app, I had this movie display, which I initialized as undefined. So I'm just going to do that here just to show that we don't actually have to change that much. I know it looked like we did a lot today. A lot of it was boilerplate code, right? It wasn't actually, like, a lot of it felt overwhelming and stuff because there was a lot of boilerplate code and it follows this pattern and it's like a lot of steps. But if you actually think about the code that we like literally just wrote, so we wrote like a reducer that just handles currently get all movies. We wrote an action, an asynchronous action, one that fetches the movies and then calls the receive action. And then that's pretty much it. We've also just added a store and passed it in. This feels like a lot. And because we're restructuring it, it also feels extra like, whoa. So as it is right now.
That's just initializing or sticks? You're not getting anything right where it is, right?
Here? Yeah, I'm just starting it as undefined. When somebody comes to the application, I want it not to show anything.
Yeah, right there.
No, this is the state. This is the state of the app. Right, I'm no longer writing it inside a constructor. Those things are given to me. Yeah.
My question is, because we already use Redux, we need to centralize all the states in the store. Why we still have a state in the store?
Great question. So Leah says, why are we still using state in this component? When the whole point of the store is to use the centralized store. Yeah, so we could make this come out through our store container. Like I could do the container movie to display and just set it up as empty, and then I'd have to fire another action to update that. Totally fine. I just didn't think. I didn't know if we really had the stamina to do it all over again at this exact moment. So I figured this will make it a little bit easier for us. We're doing the main chunk, getting all the movies, and then we're just kind of dealing with the one object. But on that, that's actually the other thing I want to talk about. One of the other things, not own props yet, but the other thing I want to talk about is what's in our GitHub for Redux 3 today, which is filling out this form. So it's still totally okay for your class to have its own state, its own personal state. And this is really common for forms, right? So if I had a form, right, I might still have my my state, because this isn't coming in from anywhere except for from the user, right? So I might have a name, and I might have an email. And then only when they go to submit the form, so we go on submit, then we want to take this state and fire it off. So it's still okay to have a state in a class. You'll mostly see that in a store. Okay.
Firing it off, adding it to the story.
Yeah, I mean, whatever we want to do, if we're trying to create a new user or something, yeah, we're going to fire off a new action creator that creates a new user for the store, for sure. Or like a new to-do. I think we did a to-do example with Redux stuff. And an add oranges. Okay, so let's say I want to do this. Let's move this back in here. This needs to be parentheses. is this all we had? And then we also have this little thing, right? And here we're taking, let's not do this. So movies is now coming in from this dot props dot movies. And we actually are, since we're getting a whole object, I just want the values. I'm going to go object.values. This dot props dot movies dot map movie option. I'm going to make this the movie ID for now. And then this is update movie. This was coming in from our app. So I'm going to just take it. Put it in here. Oops. And this will be this dot update movie. And we'll just find the movie that we want. So I don't actually need to find this anymore. This is what we were doing. But now we have this dot props dot movies, and I can just key into it. Oops. All right, that's faster than the find, significantly. And then movie to display is this dot state. Okay. See if it works. Oh, let me get rid of that debugger. And here we go. No, we didn't. Yep. Constore let. I'm a super lazy, so that's a little shorter. All right, and now we've got our movies, and we get all that same functionality. Pretty cool. Yep.
Can you just go down this a little bit? Once you do connect, that gives you access to. That's why you're able to do this out front here.
I have that fetch coming in through our movies container, fetch movies, where I'm dispatching the function fetch movies. Exactly. So let's see, how else can we improve this? Maybe we don't need to keep track of state. Maybe we can just pass in. I don't know what would happen, but we could try if we did like something like this dot props, and we just did movies, and we keyed into it at something like how do you do, like, is there a selected value that I have access to here? Don't remember. Some of you did it on your test, so maybe you remember. Thomas, you're one of those people. Do you remember? How do you get what the value of the thing selected inside of your select bar? Okay, that's fine. I'll leave that for another day. Any questions on that? So a fun challenge might be to make a movie display, like individual movie, where you just show that movie. Or you can show it in here, and you should try to adjust it so that you push to that route. So your URL goes movie/that ID, and then it will display that movie underneath. And that push will happen on the select. Actually, we could do that. We could do that for like, try to do that for the next half hour. Don't make that face. Okay. What are you doing, Corey? That's fair. What? So, yeah, so I'm thinking when we click on a movie, we can change this URL up here to show the ID. And when that happens, we can see the actual movie down here, which will also be getting its movie from the container.
Would that not be like down bar?
Doesn't have to be. Could be. There's lots of ways to set it up. You guys want to try it? We're totally lost. What, Thomas? Yeah, we could use history.push, sure.
Is that what you want it to be? I thought that was like
People can use anything. All right, well, whatever. You guys can try that on your own. If you do try it, talk to me about it later. Let's take a look at it. Maybe we can go over it later. I think people are pretty spaced out right now, or overwhelmed. /overwhelmed, like it's a combination. So let's end it now for a bit. And let's give Redux a shot, keep with our project proposals, try to go over this again, try to see if we can implement it again with like locations or people or something. Kind of take it easy. Yeah, AJ. Like project stuff, yeah. And work, any work you haven't done yet for the unit. People are spaced out.
What I mean is, I'm actually not even sure how to implement Redux outside of React. Like, I'm not sure we got the practice of just like implementing Redux, building a user, building actions, like the simplest thing. So I'm wondering if we'll get a chance to do it.
I think the Redux assignment was supposed to go through that, no?
From what I understand, our first Redux assignment was to implement React. But I feel like that was like simple, just
Well, we're always going to be doing Redux with React.
okay. I'm just saying that personally, I don't even know how to implement Redux outside of so,
Well, that's okay because we don't know anything besides React. It's hard to follow because we don't know Redux without React. So Redux is this like flow pattern, right? And you can implement it with lots of different types of applications. But you wouldn't make an app, a Redux app by itself. At least not one that I know of about. But so because we only know React and not like Vue or something, we're only able to see it in action with React. So, have to think.
the store, from understanding, can be an object that holds data, so perhaps just have this as an example, even outside of React, a very simple store that holds daily data, and then like create an action, create a such user, it's like some
But where will you dispatch the actions?
Didn't go back to the store.
Yeah.
Like just
Okay.
change the store. I don't know.
Well, I don't have an assignment like that for you at the moment, but like I do highly encourage you to try to build it on your own, right? There's the GitHub readings, there's the Redux documentation, there's tons of other resources out there for Redux. It's a lot, yeah. Redux is a lot to take in, like absolutely no doubt about that. It's like super overwhelming. And it's so overwhelming that I think a lot of people go like, I can't get it. And then they stop, which makes it really tough. We have to like believe that we can get it eventually. It's just we have to like stick with the discomfort for long enough. My advice to you would be like, yeah, try it again. Try what we did again, and try to implement it in your own, right? Use create store. That's your first thing. Right? Make your reducer. Make action. Connect with provider. Connect in container. And to just like keep doing it over and over again. I don't know. I'll think about something else if I can. Yeah, no problem. Sorry. All right. I know today was a lot. Good luck. We'll get it. We'll just try again. Yeah.
It's supposed to be our lecture.
So Reed talked about forms the other day, and I briefly talked about it here. So the idea was just that we could still have state. The overarching concept of that is that we could still have state in the class. That's totally fine. And then when they go to submit that form, then we can use those actions that we're getting through from map dispatch to props and pass the information of the form into that. We can go over it more though. Yeah.
Kind of go along with what Ronald was saying, it's like, to please correct me, because I'm going to try to go on what I think Redux is doing. So like when we send the action type or what have you, that when that happens, that's like an event. So like we have event listeners, you know. So you know how when we do stuff, there's like an event listener, something happens and then something else happens. Like we're like, hey, we're listening to the document loaded, then we want this script to run. So imagine like when it gets that action dot type or what have you, that's like our own event that we're creating, that's saying, hey, listen to our Redux, listen to our own events we're going to create, because then we want to cause something else to happen. So Redux's store gets all these, events. Let's say you press a button and you want something to go left or right, minus or plus X position, right? Whatever, left or right. We know how to write that function, minus, plus equals, or minus equals, plus equals, whatever, right? We know how to do that. So instead of just doing it directly, we go move left or move right, and that's the event that happened. So now that that event happened, move left, the store sees it and it goes and checks the reducers, and the reducers are like those functions that say, hey, it says move left, I'm going to minus X position, whatever. Now it applies it, goes back to the store, and it sends it in as props. The container is connected to whatever component is going to display that output. Is that at all?
Yeah, kind of. Not bad.
All right, so
I don't know how much clearer that was.
apologies for the way on. because it's connected, so it's not props, how we know it, it's props, how it is.
Oh, there is one last thing I actually did want to hit too. Sorry. And that is that second argument, because after this would be fully equipped, which is the own props. So you have the second argument that these can take in, both of them, called own props. And these are coming in from things like, like the URL. So if I did movies / like I don't currently have a movie. Let me see if I can take a movie. Hang on. So if I do this, continue, we get our movie. State.movies. Right, so I have like this weird long ID. I'm gonna copy this. Oops. And I'm gonna put it in right here. Okay, so we should still see our movies component just fine because I didn't do exact path. But we can see that in here, if I have a debugger and own props, I can look and I can go, oh, own props. And we get this information from own props. So we get match, param, all of that. I don't know why params is being empty right now. But you can see at least I have it with our location name here. I'm gonna have to look more into that later, but basically you can access the top, right, from inside of here through own props. It's the props that it's already would be getting on its own. And so well, for some reason I'm not seeing this URL. But the idea would be that if I had a specific movie, I could do something like movie at state.movies, and then I could key into it at like own props.match.params.id. I think it's because I don't have a route declared for it right now. Just throwing that out there, that you do have access to those props that you're getting through the browser router inside of these functions by adding a second argument of own props. Okay? We can hit it again later. Yeah, Leo?
Yeah, just finish the plans and with the private routes and you upload it in GitHub. Maybe that would be very useful for us to handle some assignments.
One more time?
So we just finish the plans, the routes, and upload it into the GitHub. And later on, when we have some assignments.
This thing. That you're talking about putting this on
Yeah.
GitHub? Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
It will be on the other brand. It will be on the Redux brand. But yeah. Cool. All right, we'll talk more about that later. Try to do a little bit of work, okay, before lunch.